What is good? What is good? What is good, beautiful people? Of course, you know who I is, the good doc, Dr. Mike, back again, once again, with another classic topic for you guys today. Sincerely hope everybody is blessed. Sincerely hope everybody's having a good one. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, notify. You guys know the game, ebooks, Patreon, masterclass, the whole nine. Everything you will ever need about the good doc is listed in the link in the description area below. Now, many times on the Dr. Mike TV channel, we have talked about or had debates about bringing your girlfriend to the U.S. or to your country, whether it is a good idea, whether it's a bad idea. And I can honestly say that after listening to many of the gentlemen in the chat and reading comments, about 90%, and that's a high percentage, and I know it's from 90 to 95% of you guys have said, nope, don't do it. Don't bring them to the United States. Now, the arguments that you guys made in reference to that is, oh, when she gets to the United States, she's going to change on you. You know, Filipinos have the ability to adapt, so they adapt to the culture, which means, oh, they're just going to become Americanized, and they're just going to say when they get there, they're going to use you for a green card, they're going to leave you. Now, again, looking at past relationships with other people, looking at past relationships that certain individuals have had, their own experiences, taking into consideration all of the above, to an extent, it's very hard to deny that these things are possibly going to happen. You know, it's very hard for me to disagree that that is a possibility. Again, it depends on how well you know your girl, how long you were dating, etc., etc. There's a lot of variables in that before you decide to make such a drastic decision. All right. Now, I wanted to bring this to the table because I mentioned it in a live stream before. Many of you guys may have caught it. Some of you guys may have not. But I wanted to take into consideration where you choose to move your Filipina. Will that make a difference? Yes or no? Now, in hindsight, I want to say if you bring your provincial Filipina from the Philippines to the countryside of the United States or the countryside of your particular country, do you think that that lessens her chance of becoming Americanized like you see with other Filipinas that may move? Now, I'm not generalizing. I know you guys think I'm generalizing, but, you know, certain Filipinas or certain ladies that live in the big city areas like your New Yorks, your Chicagos, your Texas, or California more specifically. Do you believe that if you moved her to the countryside, that this would be more of an easier transition? I believe, quite honestly, that if you do move her to the countryside, that it would be to your benefit because there's less of a chance of her becoming the type of woman you don't want her to be. Let's say that you move her to the countryside. I'll be honest, you guys know that Doc lives in a great state of North Carolina. Y'all know that I live in a small town in North Carolina. And in that particular small town, there's not much for you to get into, okay? There's not a lot for you to get into. Not a lot of trouble, not a lot of big city life. You know, it's a really simplistic lifestyle that you can adapt here in my state and in my particular city. And I'm thinking, yeah, it'll be hard for her to get into shit that could possibly get her into trouble. Now, I'm not saying that she can't come across a couple of bad seeds in my city that may try to manipulate her mind and change her mind on things about me. You can come across that anywhere. But if you're moving to a place like Idaho or a place like Nebraska, places that are little known and are like super country, I think that it lessens her chances of becoming this Americanized way that you do not want her to become, or it lessens her chances of becoming the type of Filipina that you do not want her to become. I can use a friend of mine as a perfect example. There was a young lady that I knew back when. It was a long time ago. A young lady, we used to talk before, and eventually we fell apart. It was all good. She ends up finding a gentleman who is a foreigner from the state of North Dakota. And if she hears this video, shout out to her. I'm not going to dime her out or say her name or anything like that. She ends up marrying this foreigner. And she ends up moving to North Dakota. Matter of fact, Fargo, Fargo, North Dakota is where she is currently living. I don't even know if many of you can find Fargo, North Dakota on a map. You feel me? I don't even know how many people can find it on a map. Some people don't even know where North Dakota is on a map, let alone South Dakota, you know, let alone Iowa and all of these bluegrass down home states. So to make a long story short, she moved there and she's become accustomed to the lifestyle there. What do they do in Fargo, North Dakota? They hunt and they fish. Like, she lives in like a house in some wooded area and shit. She lives basically in what I would like to call a secluded area. And because of that, I think that it has definitely lessened her access to this society that a lot of us are not fond of when it comes to the United States. This whole social media movement, this whole the way you guys know social media. I'm not going to get into it, but I think you guys pick up what I'm putting down. So I use that as an example, and I say that to say this. I personally believe that if you move your young lady to an area that is not heavily populated with a lot of people, or it's not really a city lifestyle where you can develop bad habits and stuff like that, it does lessen her chance of becoming the type of Filipina that you don't want her to be. And we'll just air quote that as an Americanized Filipina. The one that really develops the negative aspects of our culture. That's what I'm focusing on. The Americanized Filipinas that develop the negative aspects of the American westernized culture. Okay. So, you can agree to disagree, but I personally agree that where you choose to move your Filipina will make all the difference. If you live in California, come on, man. California is basically little Filipina, little Filipino, little Mexico, and little Philippines. If you ask me personally, because those are two of the other diverse cultures that live in California in abundance, I should say. So actually, California is one big melting pot, so they kind of have it all. But I say that to say this: if I move my young lady anywhere, it'll likely be in my little small town in North Carolina, where we have a life, but and it's a good life. We work hard, we grind it out. That way she can get on the good foot and get in the mindset that I want her to be in. Look, this is what we're going to do, baby. We're going to grind it out. We're going to get this paper, and we're going to enjoy our life in the Philippines and down the long, in the end. I'm not just moving my young lady to the U.S. to sit around and do nothing. That big no. Okay. And I don't think that you guys should ever do that either. I got a video coming up. I don't know if it's coming out before this one or after this one, but something to that effect is going to be coming out sometime soon. All right. So again, if you ask me personally, I believe that the area in which you choose to move your young lady is definitely important, because at the end of the day, she's going to develop the habits of the environment that she's from. You know how you talk about people being a product of their environment? I think the same rules apply when you move certain Filipinas to certain areas. You're going to become the product of the environment in which you live in. You have that small town, hometown feeling and vibe where you go to the football game, the high school football games on a Friday night, that real low key lifestyle. I think that you can develop good habits and good motivational tactics for your lady. She might get bored. That you run the risk of that. But again, if that is her first experience to an American life, she has nothing else to compare it to. She may have seen what Hollywood looks like on TV or what Hollywood looks like on social media and all of that good shit. But if that's her life and this is her first exposure to the United States where you choose to bring her, 9 times out of 10, she has nothing else to compare it to. So she's going to adjust wherever she is. And like I said, it's going to be my small town in North Carolina, or if I choose to probably move down to Louisiana or someplace like that, maybe there. Again, I've narrowed it down. If I'm going to work and consider staying long-term in the United States, grind it out that way, I've narrowed it down to a couple of places that I plan to live. Like I said, we're gonna put it in a place where we can make the most money and maximize our time together. And in general, just have a good time being together, have a good time being a couple. You understand? As long as we enjoy each other's company, to be honest, I could give 2 shits and a damn where we move. And I think that mentality has to be with you as well as your Filipina. If you guys genuinely enjoy each other's company, whether she uses you as an opportunity to come up or whatever you want to call it, because a lot of people are going to say that, they're going to move there and then they're going to get mad at you for this, that, and the other. And like I said, depending on the type of Filipina that you're with, you run the risk of that possibly happening. I will never say that is not going to happen. But what I will say is this. I think that your odds are a little bit higher that she won't change into this negative aspect that we hate about our culture when you move her to a small town area. All right. Like I said, I gave you the example of a young lady I used to know that moved to Fargo, North Dakota. She's living a good life. She's enjoying it. She likes hunting and fishing. Maybe she never did anything like that in the Philippines, or maybe she did. You know, maybe her father was a fisherman. I never got that far. I don't remember asking, so I don't know. And, you know, even then, if he was, I don't think that she went with him. But again, like I said, she enjoys that shit now. And I think that, you know, your Filipina will enjoy probably whatever activities you enjoy doing. So just try to make sure you keep her included. And I think that you guys will live a really good life in the United States. I think that you have to make sure that you keep her included. Don't exclude her from a lot of things. You know, when you exclude her, that puts her in a position to want to hang out with people like her because she's lonely and all she has is you. And if you're busy and not, you know, paying her any attention, that could be a problem. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you have to devote your life to her and bow down to her. No, we don't bend the knee. We don't bend the knee over here. We don't bend, we don't break, we don't fold. But what I'm saying is make sure that you keep her included. Make sure that you let her know that you're thinking about her, even if you're away from her. I think you have to be on your P's and Q's in order to prevent her from making that change. Most of these Filipinas make the change when they get bored and when they get lonely. I tell you right now, I'm going to leave you with this thought just before I close out. The reason your average Filipina changes into this negative aspect of our society is because they get bored and they get lonely. When they're bored and there's nothing to do, they find things to do. You understand? When they're lonely, they try to find people who can provide them company, i.e. probably the wrong type of crowd. So I want you to keep that in mind, and I'm definitely interested to hear what you guys got to say about that. Oh, Doc, I think you done lost your mind, man. You bring a Filipina to the U.S., she gonna leave you. She gonna get that green card, and she gonna chuck up the deuces, and she's gone. Or you can be like, you know what? There is a possibility that this could work. I mean, in any situation, anything is possible. That's what I want to bring to the table, and I want to open your eyes to that particular aspect. All right? We talk about moving to the United States in general, but have we ever discussed moving her to a specific region or a specific state that may not have may not give her the opportunity to become the negative aspect of our particular society? All right? Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it. Food for thought for the moment. Hope you guys are having a blessed day. You know what that means? The good doc is officially out. At least not go pa alam, which means I am going now. Bye-bye. As always, love you guys. Mahal kita. Mabuhay. Peace.